paused. Now I am.
Okay. The only thing is we have a different link now, so I hope people didn't click on the old link and they just got to like an error page. That may be, that's why,
should I try to post the new link?
Well, we can't, it's too late to send an email, but we could have.
I mean, they could find it on Facebook, maybe.
Yeah, if they just refresh the page, they can find it easy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here we go. I think it's starting.
Well, hello and welcome to the Stardust Startup Factory's 5th birthday celebration. Today, Camille Babington and I, Laura Jean Palmer Maloney, the co-creators of the Stardust Startup Factory, are here to just share with you some of the wonderful things that have happened over the course of 5 years, to give you an insight into some of the challenges and opportunities that we have in the future, and to enjoy the moment we have together right now. In a virtual world, this is about the best we can do these days. The situation with the coronavirus, the circumstances with so many social and political issues in our world right now, make it all the more a time when getting together to celebrate the positive is so critically important. So we hope that each one of you is safe, healthy as can be, and happy to be here. We're happy to have you. I'm going to let Camille start with a little overview and introduction, and then we're going to be going through some of the questions that we've received and to provide some insight that we were asked to share.
Yes, thank you for that introduction. We're so excited to be celebrating our 5th year of growing our nonprofit and having just all these experiences to share. Sorry about we're sorry about being a little bit late. We were having some technical difficulties, but I think they should be sorted out. I can't see myself in the live, but because it says it has trouble playing the video. So hopefully this is working. If not, we'll still have a recording of it in any case. But if anyone is watching, thank you so much for being here and for spending this time with us, and for being interested in what we do. And don't hesitate to leave a comment as well. Maybe we'll be able to see that and get some questions there as well. But yeah, I guess we can very briefly introduce Stardust and what we do, just in case someone's watching that isn't quite sure. So we're a nonprofit, and we just hit 5 years. We offer financial support and other types of support for emerging entrepreneurs and early stage startups that have projects and initiatives that are making positive impact in the areas of sustainability, health, and learning. We like to choose applicants that have not only impact in their communities directly, but also have the potential with their idea, with their initiative, with their business, with their product or service, whatever it is, the potential for global impact as well. We value openness and transparency, sharing information, sharing ideas, moving forward. We also value, small changes for big impact. And so that's why we offer micro grants to our entrepreneurs. So grants are awarded in a process that has taken a while to kind of create, I guess, to be a process that is fair and works for everyone. It's not always been easy, but I think we have a good process now. So we had actually this time around 90 applications that came in for fall. So we do twice a year. We look at all the applications that come in and we sort them out. We sort them by category and by yeah, viability basically, and mostly impact. We kind of look at a lot of the criteria, and we'll talk more about this in the questions. Um, but we have our advisory board who looks through the projects, and then as well as some subject matter experts that we can go to if a project is in that kind of space, but we'll talk more about that. And then, yeah, we kind of choose our top 3, we vote, and then we'll send out a microgrant. And then after a grant is awarded, we stay in contact with our recipients, offering them networking opportunities, mentorship, and then every time, resources for them to be able to go further with their project, even more than we've helped them. Really, our main goal is to give that kind of boost of confidence and kind of a start as a pre-seed entity to help them, get their idea out, and help them with whatever they need to be able to finance like some beginning things, like whether it's, maybe it's fees, legal fees, or there's always some things as an emerging entrepreneur that you need to pay for. And so our microgrant program can help out with that. So I hope I did. If you want to add anything on, Jean.
No, and truly, as you indicated, we do understand ourselves to be, and it's taken 5 years to gain this understanding, but we really do have a sense of Stardust as a pollinator, very pre-seed, very, very much like, let us get you started. And then, as you will see in the course of our conversation, there's some incredible opportunities on the horizon for us as we do that.
Absolutely. So our first question is, how has Stardust evolved since the beginning of its creation? So I would say it's evolved a huge amount. At first, it came from the loss of someone very, very close to us and important to us, who was himself and a young emerging entrepreneur that had so many ideas and wanted to help people. And so that's really where our inspiration came from. And we kind of had our own way of wording things at the beginning, because we didn't know about this whole world of impact entrepreneurship or social entrepreneurship. We didn't even really know that existed. So we kind of were like, well, we want to help entrepreneurs who are making impact. And really that was kind of forward thinking already for the time, I believe. Because now we kind of have a different kind of wording where we really use that word more, impact entrepreneurship and impact investing and all of that. So yeah, our criteria was definitely different. Now we look more at global impact as instead of just like a very specific community problem. We like to look at problems that are big and find small solutions. And I just there's a lot that has changed, and in a good way. I'm so happy to see how we've evolved through the years. What has changed? All our debates, all our long talks about, what does this really mean? Who are we? What are really our values? What are we doing? Like, just so many, like, just putting everything back into context and really starting to figure out, what do we actually want to do here?
I think a lot of that conversation and a lot of that discussion goes back to the fact that Stardust, emerged like Athena from the head of Zeus, right? Stardust just came out fully clothed and ready to go. We didn't have years of thinking about what we're going to do and what do we need to have in place and who do we need to involve. We were confronted with some decisions that we had to make immediately. And we knew what we wanted to do almost immediately. It's very hard to describe this instantaneous understanding of where we wanted to head and what we would need to get there. Now, as Camille said, we did not know the language of the time. And I got to tell you, this past summer, when I've taken 2 venture capital courses and I'm trying to get my understanding ramped up of what does it mean to do what we're trying to do, what we have done. It's been, we've been pulling a learning curve at 90 degrees, but we're both very smart, we're both very determined, and we're both ready to learn and to grow and to change as we get that information. I think the need to do mid-course corrections. When we started out, the very local projects that we supported were brilliant, and they were very fulfilling, and they did make an impact, and they made a difference. And over the course of time, as our reach is getting broader and broader, we're realizing that even within those early projects that did have such a local focus, there are aspects that can be scaled and that can be transitioned beyond that local community.
Yeah.
So we're really pleased that however we got this inspiration, we were onto something from the beginning. And now that we've gotten language to frame it in, and kind of a bigger community within which to work and orchestrate things, it's just great. And I think I can speak for me and Camille in saying that the projects that we are getting are definitely, they're all over the spectrum, from oh wow, not quite a fit, to oh my god, this is such a fit. But it's taken its time, but we are gaining the traction that we've been looking for. So we're really excited about that.
Yeah. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, the other point that I want to make is, yes, our challenge is massive. We want to change the world. That was kind of our mandate from the beginning when our initial inspiration with Angus was presented to us. But you know what? Just because our problem is massive doesn't mean that those small and modest step forwards we can make are worth it. They are worth it. We also know that environmental sustainability, mental and physical health, and learning are incredibly interconnected for us. We really intend to operate at the intersection of all of those. As we've been looking at what is our unique selling point, what is our unique selling proposition, and it is being at that intersection. And I think that even though there are many very great groups that are working in one of those areas, that's fine. We work at the sweet spot where they all come together.
Yeah, it's so interesting, because when I think about in the very beginning, when we had those 3 focus areas, we kind of just had them because we took inspiration from all his notebooks and everything. But now I'm realizing how just brilliantly we chose those 3, and how perfectly they work together, and how, when you combine all those 3 and looking at progress and all the positive change that can come from all of that, you can really do a lot. So yeah, it's beautiful, and I'm so proud of the way that we've evolved and the way that we've changed and grown over the years. It's so cool.
And to be quite honest, it's been very organic. It's been like we start something, we learn about it, we make a change. It's been,
we kind of learn as we go.
Yeah. And that's kind of on the job training at its best.
Yeah. Definitely.
All right. So that next question, what is the biggest challenge of building Stardust? Camille, I'm going to let you start with that. What is the biggest challenge?
Yeah. What has been the biggest challenge? I think, when we prepared for this, we kind of talked about it. I think that the biggest challenge really is and will always be, or will be at least for the next few years, getting the word out about who we are and what we're doing, and using the resources we have to be able to raise awareness. That has always been a challenge. We're small. We don't have a big team. and we don't have that many resources, but we do have the internet. And honestly, where would we be without the internet? I don't think, we definitely wouldn't be together because we couldn't work together. So I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah,
Um,
we should point out that I'm in North Carolina. You're in France today. So,
yeah, but even when we started, I was in Canada. Like, we weren't
mhm,
in,
yeah.
I think it's, unless I come and move to North Carolina one day, I think there's a very small chance that we're ever really going to be able to work together all the time. So internet has helped us, you know, um, being being able to reach out and raise awareness. I think social media, we've been kind of doing a push with that, these last few months, and this last past year actually, and that has helped us so much. So, but it definitely always is going to be a challenge, because, like you said, the problem that we're trying to change is massive. The problem of changing the world and helping people is such a huge, it's so big, and our solution is very modest. um, but for every small thing that we can do to kind of nudge the world, nudge communities and people and ideas, lives and our environment, the planet, are being impacted in a positive way, for however small the changes are. And yeah.
I think one of the things that's obvious if anybody's watching this video, or instead of just listening to us, is that we are from different generations.
Yeah.
The fact that I have the opportunity to be working with the younger people in that millennial idea, you're in a different space, because the boomers have, we're handing off a mess in so many ways, and it is absolutely uplifting and inspirational to be in the mix of so many people who are going, okay, so this is what we have to work with. How are we going to get it to move forward?
Yeah.
Instead of just putting their heads in the sand and wanting to just go, oh, woe is me. None of the people who reach out to us, either for funding or to become part of our donor community, is in that space. Everybody
Yeah.
is ready to just go, we are going to make a difference. And what do we need to do?
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of determination is so rich and so important for right now. I think the last thing I'd like to add about the challenges is that the need to get the word out about us is twofold. Part of it is to find really qualified impact entrepreneurs who are getting started in a way that reaches out and that intersects
Yeah.
environmental sustainability, mental and physical health, and learning. And the other side of this has been to grow our endowment and to be the institution, the foundation that we want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be looking at that in some other aspects of questions that we received. But for right now, I just wanted to throw out there that because our founder, he left us with $11 and a lot of good ideas. Everything that we've awarded, all the money that we've pulled together to be able to give out, because that's what we do, man. We get money, but then we give it out. We're moving money, but more than that, we're moving ideas, and we're leading people to solutions to problems. We're helping them get there. It's been a wonderful time of reaching to our friends and family community to get that start, just like any startup would
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
But right now, we're in a transition space where we're reaching beyond friends and family. And we're not seeing ourselves as a charity. We're seeing ourselves as a donor advised fund in many ways. And we'll get to some of these technical
Yeah.
terms before we end up. But the challenge has been to constantly stay a little bit ahead of the game,
Mm-hmm.
because we get money and then we give it out. And in the
Yeah.
meantime,
And
we need to raise more money. So that's been one hell of a challenge. But we've done it.
exactly. To
You
like to find our to claim our identity first of all,
Uh-huh.
and then also to have all these different roles and all these different things that we have to do in order to keep afloat.
Yeah.
That's been definitely a challenge. So I agree.
And we're afloat, and we're doing it, and we're
Yeah.
better than afloat. We're making things happen for other people. Okay. Now the next question is a fun one. What's been the biggest celebration and positive outcome? Yay. All right.
It's hard to say just one. There's so many blessings that have come out of this venture with you. You know, like you said, we're from different generations. It's such a blessing to be able to work with someone who has so much experience and so much, um, just yeah, so much experience in the world, in the professional and academic world, and to see all of your ideas flourish, and for us to be able to get them, in concrete action has just been so fun. But yeah, so that's not what I wrote down. The biggest, if we want to just say one, I had thought of, it's just for me, it's seeing these bright minds, these impact entrepreneurs that we help, seeing them have their ideas validated and their confidence genuinely boosted in a way where they're like, wow, actually, someone wants to help me out with this project.
Yeah.
Hey, that must mean it's pretty good and I can spread it around and other people might want to know about it too. And I might get more funding. Just seeing that, and like seeing just the actual real smiles on people's face, on our recipients' faces, and seeing what they've been able to do after after they've kind of gone through our factory system, if you want to call it that, our little, our year. I guess we usually kind of spend about a year following each of our recipients closely, and then kind of have them go on their way. But it's just been so amazing to see them be so genuinely excited about everything, and yeah, being validated. I mean, it's a small thing, but it's actually really important.
Actually, would you speak a little bit about your most recent visit with one of the recipients at the awards, at that event that you attended?
Yeah, so we had one of our recent recipients, Oriane, who is a French business student, and who started SmartVrac, who's so that's one of the projects that we recently funded. And she was showing her product, her prototype, at a expo, at like I guess it was like an organic food expo, but it was kind of on just like just like natural food, natural cosmetics, and all that kind of stuff. So everything around that, products and services. And it was an expo for professionals. And she invited me to it. So I got there and I met her, and that was really cool because it was in my city. And so usually she's in Paris. I'm in Lyon, which is another city, and that's kind of far. And so she was here, and so I got to meet her. And she was so so happy to see me, and I was so happy to see her and be able to meet her in real life. And she showed me everything, and she just kept telling me how happy she was that I was there and that I was seeing it, and we did a little demo. And she started telling someone else about that had come up there, oh, hey, this is Camille. She was she represents Stardust, and Stardust was our first financer, I guess, I don't know if that's a word, but our first source of funding for our project. And now look where we are. Like, they had this great booth, and all these people were coming up, and they were so interested. And I saw her little pitch speech, and there were so many people coming up, and yeah, it was very, very cool, that moment, to see we were the first ones, and we were so interested in her project, and now she can just go, her thing is going to be in stores soon, and it's just incredible. So that was really, really
And if anybody wants to check that Oriane's project out, or any of the other ones, go to our website, look at the project's profiles up. Yeah. Oh my gosh, they're incredible. When I think about the celebration and the positive outcome, I really think about our international presence. And I know that there have been times when I wanted to kick myself because we didn't have more of a geographic bounding box around us.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times the support and the help that we need for operational expenses and other things are defined in this little area. Like, are you only working within North Carolina? Well, no,
Yeah.
no, we're not, and we don't want to be. How about that? And I know it makes it more challenging because a lot of times foundations and other things that could support us go, well, we're only going to work with these type of criteria, or we're only going to work within this geographic area. And I guess that's just the
Yeah.
blessing and the curse of the way we roll. But that's the way we
Especially
are.
public funds, like any type of government funds,
Yeah.
it's usually only geographically bound.
And
But
and a lot of private ones are too, though.
and private ones,
A lot
yeah,
of these foundations go, we're only going to help people in our little area. And you know what? It's fun to note that both Camille and I are geographers. And for two geographers to have a sense that we don't want to be confined by space. That's kind of an interesting thing to me. But we see the artificial boundaries that people put up to define where they are and what they do sometimes create more duplication of effort than trying to see how we can be more collaborative and cooperative,
hmm
because everybody's got to build their own thing within their area,
yeah,
their region, and we really see the world differently, which is really fun. I am so tickled about that. As far as the challenges, so we've got a lot to celebrate, and I really do think that our international perspective gives us more than it hinders us. So we roll that way, and we're very happy we
yeah.
do. And we work at this intersection of all of those focus areas, not just in silos.
hmm
I think as far as the challenges we face right now,
Yeah, it was kind of the next question is kind of more about right now. Like, what are
yeah,
some recent challenges and recent celebrations? Because we've kind of done more of an overview of the past 5 years, but recently,
yeah.
what has been a tough spot for us? Do you want to go with the challenge?
I think we'll start with the challenge, and then we'll go to the celebration to end on the lighter note. And I think that one of the more immediate challenges has been trying to find the way that we can define ourselves so that others understand that there are so many things that came out of Star Trek that we've been able to have, like flip phones and video calls and all the stuff that Star Trek used to do, but we haven't ever gotten the Vulcan mind meld, and we haven't gotten transporter beams. And when we do, that's going to be so fun. Because I think if any of you could see inside the way that Camille and I think about Stardust, then we wouldn't have to keep searching for the right words, because it's been a challenge as far as funding and outreach to learn how to communicate within the venture capital community, within the impact investor and impact entrepreneur communities, because everybody has their jargon, everybody has their own particular way that when you say something, when you go, we are a pre-seed incubator, then people go, oh, I know what that is. And then they start putting you into these little
Right.
categories that we don't really fit into that well.
Yeah.
I think as far as funding and outreach, our most immediate challenge is that right now we bring in money, we fund projects, the money goes out, and then we have to do it again. And it's very much a boom and bust type of
hmm
cycle. And we really need to and want to have more of a continuity stream feeling to the money that's in, the money that goes out. And we want to and are building our endowment so that we can work from that without it being the boom and bust every time where we're holding our breath. There's a beautiful collection of gray hair over here that's looking rather Cruella de Vil, that I've gotten from all of these attempts to raise money. And we have, but sometimes I'm hanging on by a thread, but then it always works out. It always works out. For 5 years, we've been able to do this. And I know that right now we've finally found our footing. And right now, the immediate funding and outreach is more about, we are bringing forward some wonderful, well vetted early stage startups that we would like to get funded, that we intend to fund. And we're in a little bit of a pivot point right now because historically we've accumulated money, then found the projects we want to fund and release funding, and we're in a little bit of a slip and reversal on that, where we're finding projects and then bringing in the funding. And we want to get to a place where the funding is already in place and we bring in projects. But so we're in a little bit of a transition right now. But I think that anytime we feel like, oh, we're done, I just remember what we were taught by our founder, Angus, that this kind of work is never done. This kind of work is dynamic and it's always changing, and you're always watching who you're trying to attract and how you can do it better. What do you need to change? So we have a lot of challenges with funding and outreach right now, but I see them more as exciting and energizing than as, oh, woe is us. But
Yeah.
it's a thing. And I, as the older 60 something of the group, keep thinking, you know what, I am not going to get Alzheimer's. You know, you're supposed to keep your mind active and everything in order to keep, you know, everything going.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
I'm
you'll be
good.
fine.
I'm good for
Yeah.
a while.
I think you'll be okay.
You know,
As far as keeping active, I think, I think you're on the right track.
you know,
But that being said, if anyone that is watching is interested in helping us grow our endowment, please get in touch and in contact if that's something that interests you or your foundation.
You know, or if you want to know more about the current portfolio of projects that we're bringing forward that we want to get funded, my gosh, what an opportunity you have to be an impact investor.
Yep.
Right? Yep. Okay, and so the celebration of what we're facing right now.
Yeah, so recently, I think I would say the most recent kind of celebration has been our spring awards this year. That we had 4, which was amazing, which was a first, and they were just all so interesting and different and similar in some ways, and so inspiring. So we created recently some videos to go along with each project. So that has been really fun too. And then we had our really successful Givenar, which was supposed to be an in-person gathering to get some, like we were talking about, impact investors to kind of fund these projects. And with COVID, it turned into a webinar, which we named a Givenar. But it turned out to be really cool. A lot of people showed up and we did get some funding out of it. So it was definitely successful, and knowing that, you know, those projects we chose are going to make a difference, because we both believe that they will and that they are already. It's just a wonderful feeling. So I think that would be a recent celebration, and I'm excited to see what these fall awards become. We'll see.
I've got to say the degree to which, because we were already working virtually, and we work a lot with digital marketing. We know how to put stuff together, and it was like, oh, holy mackerel, the in-live event is not going to happen. What do we do? What do we do? And we were able to transition that. COVID threw everyone some curveballs this year.
Yeah.
But that one, trying to sort of just have this reality check going, okay, this is going to come together. And then the degree to which we were able to repurpose and reuse some of the recordings from the Givenar to turn into some other assets for our YouTube channel. It was such a wonderful, it was a gift. It was a gift that we were able to.
It was a gift that we worked hard towards.
Yeah,
we worked really hard with it. So.
We did. So speaking about working virtually, Camille, what does it mean to be a virtual community? What are some of the fun things and the challenges and opportunities?
That is a big question. it comes with both, definitely. Just like we said, kind of with in the same vein as being international and not being stuck in one place, being virtual, it's difficult because of communication, obviously. Like there's so many ways of communicating virtually, and we're so thankful for all of these
this,
platforms that we
this
can
this
use.
morning being an example.
Like we're not having to write. Yeah, I know we had some trouble with that. No, but we're not having to write each other letters to figure things out. Like we can text, and we have all these platforms that are helping us out with our nonprofit. That's been really cool. We use Workplace by Facebook, which is kind of it's a thing that Facebook set up that looks kind of like Facebook, but it's for businesses and nonprofits. And it has just been so wonderful to use that platform. It's so easy to use. And that has been great. Like I love trying, working all that stuff out. It's really cool to be able to work with people all over the world. We have an intern right now who's in Dubai. Some people are on our advisory board, Armenia. Like there's people in different countries, different states. It's very cool to be able to see their faces and work together and chat. And however, it can be tough when like someone doesn't respond, and like you're in your time zone. It's your work day, so you're expecting a response, and then for them, like maybe it's a different time zone, so they're out or they're not looking at their computer, and then it's like 2 days later and you're like, well, I didn't get a response. So some things like that can be tough. People cannot show up. We've had volunteers who we thought were going to be volunteers and be dedicated volunteers. And, you can't always, since they don't have to show up somewhere physically, then, sometimes then they have an excuse. They can kind of hide behind their screen and not show up at all. So that's been kind of tough. But I would say we've had more good experiences than bad as far as interns and team and staff and all that. So I'm not condemning anyone, but I'm just saying that has been definitely a challenge.
Well,
Yeah.
and to their credit and to our emerging model of what the heck are we doing with this nonprofit, this business that is a nonprofit. My gosh, it's only been very recently that we were able to put together a solid list of tasks for people.
That's true.
At the beginning, we're kind of reaching out to people going, hey, we're not quite sure what you're going to need to do, but we're pretty sure we're going to need you. And would you help?
Yeah.
And then everybody's going, yay. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's been wonderful. And it really has been an opportunity for us to give interns, especially, the opportunity to be part of a professional business and to learn what does it mean. And I have to say that whether I'm thinking about our community from a web-based perspective, whether it's our recipients or whether it's our donors or whether it's applicants, communication is the most important part of this whole bit of being virtual. Because we can send out emails, but we don't hear, and we assume people get them. My good grief, in this time in the United States, as we're preparing for the national elections, people's email boxes are inundated. And I don't know about you, but I tend to avoid mine as much as I can. Just everything is so crowded. How do you rise above the noise? How do you let people know you're out there? So we do use Facebook for posting information about Stardust, and we love it when we can tell that people are seeing that. We're using a lot of different social media platforms for communicating. But I think our web page and our web presence in the website that we have put together for Stardust is so rich and so valuable. And it is not a quick thing that you can go and you can find something easily, but it's just rich with stories and helping you understand and helping us share what we've been doing. So that to me has been one of the more fun parts about being a virtual community. And you can change things instantly. We go, oh, we need to get that down, get something else up. And it's not like the hard copy world that I grew up in. So It is amazing in that respect.
I would say if I had to add something on
Mhm.
as far as community, just that word community, um, we've talked so much about this, but it's been a huge blessing to be able to have this like Stardust community that we kind of created, as far as everyone that is working with us day to day, to our amazing, brilliant grant recipients, our wonderful group of donors who have been there like since the beginning. Some people who are still donating, who've been donating for 5 years. Some of these foundations that support us, our staff, our interns. There's so many, people in this community, and our supporters just in general. It's just been so lovely to have this community and to be a virtual community. I think with COVID, like, I think, there's going to be more and more virtual communities. Like, that's just where things are going. And of course, it's like so important to have your physical community as well, and see people in person and do things in person and in real life and get your hands dirty. But like, I think we just have to face the future and know that like there's so many I think the virtual community in general, that's just something that's blowing up right now, especially with COVID.
Yep.
And, with all of that happening, we're still able to be working because we were virtual in the first place. Um, I mean, so cool. So
Yep. And we did. I mean, my gosh, how many events did we have over the course of our time? I mean,
yeah,
a
we've had a
lot.
few,
I mean,
definitely.
we get out there, and I mean, an event like when we had our tent up at Battery Park in New York City, to an event like even participating in the local farmers market. All of that came to a screeching halt, you know, and we're like, oh my gosh, we've got to stay in touch with people anyway. So it is a challenge, but we were well positioned to do it.
Yeah. Uh,
um in terms of Stardust in the future, you're talking about COVID and the realities of all of that, and I know that staying in a virtual world is, I mean, that's where we grew. That's what we're going to be. We are located in North Carolina, but my gosh, we've got a lot of reach well beyond that. I think that as we transition in the next 1 to 3 years, I really do see this as the direction that we're going for our future goals with Stardust growth, is serving as this donor advised fund, so that we are a 501c3. We are an organization into which the money that we receive from donors can be reported as a tax deduction, and in the investor world, in the venture capital world, in the pre-seed, all of that, there are organizations looking for a pipeline, that people finding early stage startups that can produce a return on investment that they're looking for. So I know that we're transitioning more into a pre-seed pipeline. Like I said, I think I love the idea that we're a pollinator. And Camille is the graphics design genius behind everything that you see that's out there for Stardust. And I keep imagining this little bumblebee with stars for wings or something, that's pollinating all of these little projects. And I'm like, oh, that would be so cool. Because I think that we provide um, a very intimate setting. I mean, as far as a donor advised fund, I see us as a rather unique kind of boutique, if you will, entity, where we nurture and we grow and we work very directly with the projects that we bring on board. Unlike many incubator and accelerator programs, we provide funding. There are a lot of people scrambling to be part of these other kinds of programs, and they get no money coming in with that. They get the opportunity, they get the mentoring, they get the chance to be the ones selected that can go forth and grow. And we're in a really different place with that. So I see that in our immediate future as being an absolute fun spot to be in. And I think that growth for the sake of growth is I've heard a friend of mine at Jim Westcote, if you're listening ever, you'll know that I still quote you on this, that growth for the sake of growth is the definition of cancer. That it's not just about getting big, big, big. it's about making an impact, making a change, making that result. And I'm going to hand off to Camille for a moment because we got a really good question about, there's this highly used word impact. What does it mean? What does it mean to us? And Camille, I'll let you
Yeah.
start with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we throw around that word a lot, just like a lot of people say, you know, you throw around the word sustainability, but what does it really mean? And we're not going to get into that today, but I think impact, definitely we have started to use just so much more prominently in the past couple years. And it's really, you know, impact is, if you want to get down to exactly what is our real goal, what is our true goal for Stardust, it's to make a difference in people's lives and to make a difference in our environment, to help preserve our beautiful earth, and to help you know, people on earth have better lives with, you know, in harmony with this earth. And that's so vague and so big, but you know, we really just want to make a difference. And so impact is that to us. It's entrepreneurship that has a basis in helping rather than just taking money. You know, it's giving back, it's making a difference. So we kind of sometimes we refer back to B Corporation because their what is it called? Their slogan is people, planet, and profit. Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's exactly what I was just saying, is that like, you not only have the profit, but you have people and planet, and people and planet is just as important, if not more important, than your own little business. And if you can do all three at once, that is the definition of the future. For me, at least, for Stardust, at least, that's what we want to keep seeing in the future, is just like, is businesses and people that want to show their passion and get their ideas out there, but in like a positive, impactful way. And also, do you want to talk about like scalability?
Yeah, you know, I think that goes back to some of the examples that we gave really at the beginning of our conversation, that
Yeah.
the chance to take what is being presented as the idea for Stardust to fund, how can it grow? How can it become something that has the potential for a global impact? You look at any of the 4 projects that we've most recently funded, and each one of them has the potential for global scalability. Whether
Right.
it's the Proapia work with the beehives and bee colony help, whether it's the Kali energy cooling device, because we know that if people are hot and miserable and can't be cool, work in an environment, I mean, their productivity goes down, their mental and physical health are impacted. And it's learning how to cope with all of that that's critically important for the world right now. The reduction in packaging and the reusability of some of the things that we use when we're shopping, especially for food that makes sense. I mean, that's exactly what's going on with Smart Brack. And then
And
the
it's needed everywhere. It's needed all over the world.
Yep, and Ma Petite Maison Verte, the tiny house concept, but using a material that's also prevalent everywhere, incorporating work of the disabled communities to create the building projects. I mean, everything that we did has scalability and transferability. So that whole idea of a global impact maybe it's not turning into the next huge big thing, but it's something that could transfer anywhere in the world. You know,
Mhm.
it all of those things come together and make sense for us in terms of impact. And I will say, you know, there's that beautiful, you know, little tale of somebody going out with their child to the beach, and the beach is littered with starfish, and a kid bends over and picks up one starfish and throws it back. And it's just like, there are all these starfish, but what, you're only going to rescue that one? Well, I mean, we may not be able to fund every project that comes our way, but we can help a few. And
Yeah.
by helping those few, and as Camille indicated earlier on, we do provide financial capital. We provide networking capital. We provide the opportunities for mentoring. We
Mhm.
provide the opportunities for idea sharing because we highlight every one of the projects that we fund through our social media.
And
Everything gets
our
attention.
emails.
We
Yeah.
use our newsletter. Oh my God, between our social media, our newsletter, and our website, we have got the most wonderful, fully integrated web presence. And
Yeah.
I just, I feel all kind of smiles about that. I think as far as developing meaningful connections and the ways that we maintain and nurture contact, I mean, that's also part of this because even though our applicants, the people who receive funding are expected to complete their project that is getting the Stardust support in 12 to 18 months. We stay in contact with people well beyond that. And we're always wanting to get feedback. Right now, we've got one project in Lagos, Nigeria. We are always hearing from Sylvester. We know that the contacts of our project, the Dragonfly Effect, and the work that they're doing with some personal care products during this time of COVID, during this time when people are very focused on their health and well-being, they're in a really important position to help people get what they have to offer. That whether we're looking at Tammy Thomas and the Miriam Project here in Carteret County, or whether we're looking at one of the more global projects, or even some of the ones like the Meadery in Ohio, or the PTSD service for veterans and folks in Tampa. Everything has got its sweet spot, but the communication, the staying in touch, the making sure that we maintain a nurturing relationship. As long as people want to stay, when they finish, they can
Yeah.
be done, but
Right.
we do
Exactly.
have anybody that's making money from this, anybody that's not a nonprofit, that's an actual startup that's moving forward to make part of the profit as well as affecting in a positive way people in the environment. They do have an expectation of giving back at least 10%. And we've had those startups give back even more.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think that, as I'm watching the time and going, we
Yeah.
want to get to some of the things about some of the most valuable lessons that we've learned in terms of developing our network with nonprofits and external actors. Camille, how do you feel about the communication side of this?
Yeah, I think maybe we can finish with like just most valuable lessons in general,
Mhm.
from what we've learned growing Stardust. But we can start with, a lesson in terms of developing networks with external actors. What we've noticed has worked the best is, it's going to be the same thing, effective communication. And for as far as like funding and outreach and things like just outreach in general, it's really about finding the right person to connect with. So, you can find someone that represents a company or foundation or whatever, but and never get a response from them, or they'll say, "Oh, great, wonderful," and then it never will happen. Well, maybe that's because they weren't on that kind of project at that point in time, and we've found that it's if you find someone that is willing in the same company or foundation that is willing to give you the time of day because they actually have time to work on that and are doing that specific thing, like working with nonprofits, for example, then
And
that's
even the connection with the Dobson Center.
yeah, we have a connection now with the Dobson Center at McGill University, which is the university that I went to for undergrad, and they're the Dobson Center for Entrepreneurship, I think is what
Mhm.
it's called.
Mhm.
We had wanted to connect with them for years to just become one of their resources, basically, for students who are going into the center, looking for resources for funding, for mentorship, whatever it is, for guidance, for their entrepreneurship. ventures, whatever they wanted to do. And so, yeah, we just wanted to be a resource. And, we reached out a couple times in the beginning and we found someone, but it really wasn't her job to do that. And it never really went through. And we had an intern help us recently, and it worked out great. So it was a different person that we spoke to. So yeah, I would say definitely face-to-face contacts also have proven to be more effective if you can actually go into the office of the person and say, hi, we'd like to stay in touch and network. That can be, I think, extremely effective, and we've done that as well. However, with COVID and everything, and just the fact that we are virtual and that we work that way most of the time, we kind of have to rely on like we've recently started using LinkedIn a little bit more. Jean has especially, and that has been pretty useful, I would say, to find people at least. There's definitely challenges that go with it. But yeah, as far as that lesson, did you want to add anything to that one, or like add another valuable lesson?
As I'm thinking about the importance of face-to-face, I don't know how many thousands of miles I put on my poor little Yaris, traveling around, to go meet face-to-face. I mean, I will drive from North Carolina to Montreal to go have a sit down with the CAPS lady at McGill to make sure that we can go to the nonprofit fair. And by the way, we have had the most incredible intern support from McGill and Concordia University in Montreal. We are so grateful for those connections. But you know what? I think that we really succeeded because I went in person to the nonprofit fair in Montreal in winter, right before COVID. Oh my God, it was literally the week before everything started shutting down. To have these face-to-face times where I can, feel the energy of the other people, and they can get to know us, and then they get excited and we're excited, and it's just great. Now, I would like to say that if any of you want to share about Stardust, it's the peer-to-peer connections that are so valuable, and it needs to come from our network to others. I know a lot of times people are asking, well, what's in it for me, or what would be in it for anybody? There are no, this is more like angel investing if I'm talking to the donor community right now, because it's just a gift. It's your donation. It's your chance to help other people move forward. As we develop this pipeline, there might be ways that we can connect people to these other venture capital kind of things, but that's way down the road. But right now, the what's in it for me is, hey, you give a big enough gift, it can affect the deductions you get on your income tax. Right now we get so many deductions that's almost not incidental, but it's that chance to be the impact investor, the chance to make a difference. And I got news. There are people in the boomer generation, the millennials, the Gen X, everybody is wondering, what can we do? What can we do? How can we make this world a better place? This is a small token of what you can do. It's a small example of what you can do. But the changes that we can make, they amount to stuff. Those straws added together break a camel's back. Well, enough things coming together, we make change happen.
Seriously. There's so much social reform going on right now. I mean, reform, if I can say that. So much, in everywhere in the world.
The social impact, the environmental sustainability impact, those are the types of things that are just bubbling up everywhere.
Yeah. So we're so, blessed and grateful to have the opportunity to even be a small part in all these changes that we need. It has been just so cool to be able to have this. I mean, especially at a time where, we're all looking for a purpose and a meaning to everything. And I can safely say that I definitely have meaning in what I do for my work. And it's just so wonderful.
So gratifying. Well, so in summary, we've got a YouTube channel that has got some great videos. We've got a website. We're all over the social media platforms, share about Stardust. You know, help us get the word out, help us raise awareness. And anytime you want to reach out directly to me or to Camille, send us an email. We do check.
Yeah.
You know, write a comment in any of our platforms, but know how much we really honestly appreciate your love and support.
Yeah, definitely. And feel free to give feedback too if you have comments or feedback.
Our other questions, you know?
Yeah, yeah, or other questions. We might actually do a new survey. I think we had done like a community survey a couple years ago to see like what people wanted to see from us and how we were communicating and was it effective for everyone. I think with all of this new social media surge that we've been doing, we could probably, you know, afford to get out another survey and see if we can get some feedback. But
yeah.
you know, if you sent in a question, thank you so much. If you have been watching, thank you so much. If you're a supporter in any way of what we do, thank you so much. It's been such a wonderful journey. And like I said, so just feel so blessed to be able to work with you and do all this together.
And you know, in as many ways as I go, my God, has it only been 5 years? Look at what we've achieved. It's hard to believe it's already been 5 years.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's insane.
So sending you hugs and lots of love and to everybody. And, you know, thanks for your time. We'll be in touch.
All right. Let's see
All right.
how we can stop this.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.